Was it difficult to understand what he was saying? He had a very thick accent.
He had a very thick accent, but I could understand it most of the time. Duke was my savior because Michael Curtiz was not the easiest man to work with. He used to pick a whipping boy at the beginning of each movie, and because I was the easiest picking in that show, because I was only 10 or 11, I was his whipping boy.
Hi, I'm RJ Word, and I know you want to keep watching this episode of A Word on Westerns, but I'm here with my dad, and we've started a podcast.
So we want you to tune into it. It's going to be dropping every Monday, a new episode. They'll be longer, and it's audio only, so I don't have to diet anymore, all right? But right now, let's get into the video, A Word on Westerns. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, I'm going to roll him out of here now.
Hi, I'm Rob Word. Welcome to A Word on Westerns. We are talking to an actress who worked with John Wayne, not in a Western, but in a family drama. The film was Trouble Along the Way, and the actress is our guest today, Sherry Jackson. Welcome, Sherry.
Thank you so much.
Sherry loves horses, and she worked with one of the greatest horsemen stuntmen ever, our hero, Jock Mahoney. You worked with him on 2 Range Riders.
I adored him.
Yes. Why?
I can't tell. I was too young to have those thoughts. He was so gorgeous. His body was so beautiful.
How old were you again? No.
Way too young to be thinking these things. But I had to be younger than 10. And he was just the specimen of litheness and agility and charm and sweet and kind. And I thought, oh my God, this is the man I want to marry. And then my mother was a widow. And so I kept going saying, Mom, this is the one. You've got to marry this one. This is it. They don't get any better.
I think all little girls were telling that to their widowed mothers.
Then later on, I found out one of his attractions is they think he's has part Black Irish, which all those stars that you love, Colin Firth, Sean Connery, it goes on, have Black Irish in them. And they come from the south of England, and they're the ones with the blue eyes and the dark hair, and they're gorgeous.
Well, I see you haven't gotten over Jocko yet.
No, I haven't, but he definitely had the signs of having Black Irish in him.
When you were on the set on those produced by GENE Autry, Flying A Productions, did you observe any of the choreography for the stunts? He was so wonderful in executing those.
He was amazing. It was just amazing, and he did not have a double.
No,
he always did his own stunts. I watched it on YouTube like a couple of nights ago, and I went, wow, I can't believe he just did all these flying leaps. He was better than a stuntman.
He had started as a stuntman, but like you noticed, he was quite good looking, so they said, let's put him in front of the camera.
Good thinking.
Yes. Dickie Jones was the sidekick that series too.
He was a sweetheart, but he was too short for me.
Well, he did his own stunts too. He was quite
Yes, he
adept
did. He
at
was
that.
very good. Did his own stunts. He was very talented, good actor. But I was in love with Jocko. I'm sorry.
What was it like working with John Wayne? This was a Michael Curtiz film, Trouble Along the Way.
He was difficult, but Duke wasn't.
Was it difficult to understand what he was saying? He had a very thick accent.
He had a very thick accent, but I could understand it most of the time. Duke was my savior because Michael Curtiz was not the easiest man to work with. He used to pick a whipping boy at the beginning of each movie, and because I was the easiest picking in that show, because I was only 10 or 11, I was his whipping boy. So he was not kind to me.
That's shocking that he would pick out a little girl to pick.
Well, who else? That's the easiest. There wasn't any little people but me. So I was just picking. He liked to pick on me.
Well, weren't you spunky back then?
I was always spunky, but my mother wouldn't let me be. So she always tamped me down and said, you know, you can't say the things you're feeling. You just have to roll with it.
Well, you certainly were a precocious daughter for John Wayne in that.
Thank you. That was a great role because I don't know how many of you have seen them film? Okay, quite a few. All right, that's good because the story is he's an alcoholic, or, you know, he's a womanizer, alcoholic kind of almost. And
yeah, he was pretty obnoxious in that film.
Well, he doesn't take care of his daughters the way he should, and he has custody of her. So the show is really about his interaction with me and how they're trying to take me away from him, and he starts to pay attention to me in a good fatherly way. And so I don't get removed from his custody. And so it was really, we had some great funny scenes. My most favorite scene, I think, is when I come home. I have an apron on. I come home after school. He's still in bed, nursing his hangover. Mm-hmm. And Michael Curtiz was the director. And he loved to do lots of bits, or we like the scene to keep moving. So here I am saying all these lines. At the same time, in between, I have to remember to take the bottle of the tomato juice, the lime, the ice, pour it all in the glass, stir it, whatever else you put in for a hangover drink, I don't know. But whatever, I had to put that in and make it for his morning hangover drink, and say all my lines in between. So I had a lot of business, is the word I was looking for, to do before the dialogue started. And it was a great scene because he comes out and he's like, you know, he has a hangover. And I give it to him. And we have this dialogue of this young girl talking to her father, who is not taking good care of her. And then I think I say to him, the lady that's going to check on us is coming over today.
Who was Donna Reed?
Yes. And I didn't know who it was, but...
She didn't have her TV show yet.
No, I mean, I didn't know I hadn't met her in the movie. Yeah, but she was lovely. I was worried that she'd come in and discover that he really is a drunk, really is not a good father. So he perks up and she comes in and we have this great scene with the three of us. Mm-hmm. And he has some great lines that I won't quote.
Well, you mentioned that John Wayne was your savior on set.
Yes.
What incidents do you remember that he protected you?
Well, several. But the first one, I didn't know him at all. I didn't know the director at all. I just heard things that the director was really, really tough. And so I was doing a screen test after they'd gone through 100 girls. And I was doing a screen test. Curtiz comes over to me after I think they decided they sort of wanted me, but they weren't quite sure that I was old enough. And so he came over and he said, I had pigtails down to here. And he says, we want to cut the pigtails off. Well, tears welled up into my eyes. And Duke was standing next to me. He saw the whole transaction. And when Curtiz walked away, he came over to me and he says, don't worry. I won't let them cut your braids.
Great. Yeah.
So at that point, I guess he wanted me for the part too.
I would say so.
Yeah. So I let them cut off like 3 inches, which was nothing because I have really long hair. And that made me, in their eyes, look older. They also put lifts in my shoes in order to make me look older. So I wore lifts and more older clothes. So that was the beginning of him saving me.
He did it other times in the film, too?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The best time was when I was doing a scene. Now, this is towards the end of the movie. I'm doing a scene which is so dramatic and is a key scene in the film. Because he and I live together in the same space. And, but we have a curtain in between so that, there's no sexual stuff. It doesn't look like he's got a bed on one side, I have a bed on the other side. But, and also the bells would ring all the time in the tower because we were in the Catholic Church. So we always had the bells ringing. So we have this wonderful emotional scene where we're talking and I'm telling him all the things that I feel, and he's telling me all the reasons that he has to do this stuff because he wasn't a football coach. He was earlier, then they got him back as a football coach because the team was dying. The school needed money, so this was all for money. So he was explaining it to me, and he said he's tried as hard as he could, but this was the best he could do. And so I look at him and I say, "It's okay, Pop. You didn't make the world." At that point, everybody's supposed to cry. It's a very poignant scene. But what happened is I kept going up on my lines. I had worked, which they used to call me one-take Jackson. I never went up on my lines. And but this time I kept going up on my lines, and why, I don't know. So I see the production manager in the corner of my eye, and he's going, which means we're going overtime.
That'll relax you.
Golden time, meal time, whatever. And so that made me more nervous. And, well, I almost got through the scene. And one of the grips, way up high on a ladder, shouted down, "Well, she had it this morning, but she's lost it now." Oh dear, that's terrible. So I went ahead, I did the scene, got my lines right, and was in the can, and everybody could go home. So that was one that was a very poignant scene. And I left out the best part. When the guy yells from the ladder, "Well, she had it this morning, but she's lost it now." I was mortified. And he stood up. He was sitting on the bed, and he stood up and he went, however he does it, with the shoulders. He does this bit, and he stands up to his full height, and he looks at the guy on the ladder and he says, "Next they'll be having her sweep out the stage."
You worked many of the early classic TV shows. I know you did Gene Autry.
Pat Butchum was wonderful. Yeah,
Pat was funny. And Gene Autry, what do you remember about?
Gene Autry, I got to tell you this one thing about what I did on his thing. I went up to Apple Valley, and I had to do 2 shows at the same time.
That's the way they used to do them back then.
Not back to back, but hello, how are you? Change your clothes, take your glasses off, and then it's the next scene. So you do one scene, you do another scene from the second show, another scene from the first show, another scene.
For a child, that must be really difficult.
Oh my God, learning your lines and saying, okay, now I'm the rich little girl, and now I'm the poor little girl. Which I had a crutch in it. I looked sad and pathetic, and I had a poor little dress on. And in the other one, the other character, I was this fabulously rich little girl with the curls and everything. And it was pretty funny because changing, I would say, we're out of, this isn't continuity, or this doesn't match. My hair is supposed to be like so, and then my hair isn't. So I was always catching all the things that didn't match the other character.
They used to do 2 episodes a week in 6 days in one location, like you're saying, with different parts. So Denver Pyle, I think, was in those episodes with you and playing a different part in each one as well. When you would do these things, when they'd fly you to Apple Valley, would they bring a teacher?
Of course they had to.
And how many hours a day would you have to study?
I think at that time, well, they had limits to your age. I think it was maybe 8 hours was the maximum, or 7 or 8, because I was up to, after age 6, you could work longer. So the minute I turned 7, I got more parts. I want to tell you one thing about Pat Buttram. It's a very cute scene where we're shooting guns. And he sets up all these bottles that we're going to shoot. And I happen to have been a good shot, but I was really a good shot in the show because they would show me aiming for the article, the bottle or whatever, and then I would shoot, and then they'd have an insert of the bottle exploding. So I was going bang, 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 bang. I wasn't able to do that for a long time. It took me years to be able to be that good. Anyway, so that was very cute when he's like saying, oh my God, she's doing all this and I can't even hit one, or whatever it was.
He was a brilliant comedian, Pat.
He was brilliant, and he was a very sweet man.
Sherry Jackson's father was Montgomery Pittman.
Right.
One of the great writers. He wrote a terrific Maverick episode called Waco Williams that introduced Wade Preston as a character, in a very, very funny episode. And he wrote one that you were in with Cousin Bo, Roger Moore.
Yes.
You were older then, too, so you were playing like hot potatoes then.
I was sexy then.
Yeah. So
I had blossomed, as they say.
What was the Maverick set like at that time? Because it was toward the end of the era for that series. Yes. Roger Moore had come in to be a replacement for James Garner, even though nobody could really replace James Garner.
Never. He was brilliant.
So your dad, as a writer then, he wrote a lot of great Westerns. He wrote Twilight Zone. He directed episodes too, yes. He must have been a help in getting you in front of people.
Well, what was so great about that relationship is he married my mother when I was 10, and I had a full-blown job that I worked all the time called The Danny Thomas Show. That was quite a bit of work. I had a different style of work. I like one single camera shows rather than 3 camera shows. And Danny Thomas was 3 cameras.
Did it have an audience?
And an audience of 300 people. So you're doing a live play every week. And God forbid you should blow your lines. That was really a no-no. Because he'd shout over the microphone so the studio could hear all the people. You screwed up. And it was very embarrassing.
Sheldon directed a lot of those, didn't he?
Yes.
He was a funny man.
Well, maybe you think so. So what was Danny Thomas like then? Oh, God. What he did do on the set, which was disgusting, he had a red fireman's bucket that was red with white stenciling that said Danny's Butts. And he would chew the cigar, and he'd spit and see how far he could spit to make, like playing basketball. So he would spit to make the pot, and he would miss half the time. So it would dribble down the side, and it was disgusting. I felt so sorry for them to have to clean that up, because it would be 2 inches of gunk. That was really awful. And then if you had a kissing scene with him, oh my God.
Luckily, you were only his daughter.
Yeah, Gene Hagen would go, oh my God, I have to go kiss him. I said, better you than me.
Temper, Father. You were only trying to behave in a manner that would reflect credit on the Williams name.
I don't want to hear any more of this highfalutin talk either.
My little son, little pal.
One more Western, and your dad wrote an episode that you were in of Riverboat,
Yes.
where you played Buddy Ebsen's daughter.
Yes.
There was a feud going on
Yes.
with another hillbilly family.
Right.
And this is before he did Beverly Hillbillies, but he was such a wonderful guy.
Wonderful guy.
What was the set like? Because I know that Burt Reynolds had already been fired because his lifts were higher than Darren McGavin's. And so they
Darren
didn't get
McGavin
along.
was a sweetheart.
Yeah.
But the thing that I remember about Riverboat the most is when I almost died. That's not in the movie.
I don't know this story.
No, you don't.
What is it?
They have this big thing where there's a river for the riverboat, and it's all done like with tractor treads underneath the boat. And they would have a megaphone, and they'd say, "Okay, start it," and at the other end they'd start it up, and then the boat would come along, and then they'd say, "Okay, stop it." Well, the stopping part took forever to stop it. So they have me on the boat, jumping off the boat, swimming to shore. Well, swimming to shore, when you get there, it's just cement with moss on it, so it's really slippery. But I never hardly made it to that part, because when I hit the water, it was like I had a 50-pound weight on me, because I was wearing period clothes, a wool skirt, and I hit the water and I just sunk. And I came back up and I said, "I can't swim. I could swim great. I couldn't swim with 50 pounds of weight on me." And so I started to swim as best I could. I wasn't making any headway. And they realized that I was going to get hit by the boat because I wasn't getting away from it. So I'm thinking, oh my God, it's going to run over me. I was waiting for them to yell to stop it. Well, I knew it took forever to stop it. So finally, I'm just at the, they stopped the boat and I'm just ready to drown. So then I was able to go ahead and swim to the slippery thing and get out. And
It's shocking that they wouldn't have used a stunt woman for you.
well, one thing, I love to do my own stunts. Most of the things you'll ever see me in, horseback riding, diving, swimming, anything athletic is me doing it. But what I would do is I would say, yes, I need a stunt double. Have a stunt double on the set. If it was something that I did feel afraid of, the stunt double would do. If it was something I was going to get all dirty, I would have the stunt woman do. Like in Charlie's Angels, I had to dive into a whole thing of leaves to get away from the bad guy, or the good guy. I don't remember if I was bad or good in that one. And, you come out with leaves and you're filthy and everything. I went, no, let the stunt lady do that one. I don't remember my makeup and hair.
Well, Sherry, thank you for joining us today. We look forward to your book.
Yes. Yes.
Good luck with that. And
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your memories with us today.
Oh, good luck.
Our podcast is every Monday.
Every Monday a new one drops. Isn't it up all the time then? And you can access it anytime.
You can access it anytime wherever you find your podcasts or on our new channel, A Word on Westerns podcast.
Sounds good to me.
The links are... I'm going to put it over his face.
He did graduate, too.
Click here.